Hi everybody, good evening and welcome back to House of Medics. As you can see, it's not just me today. I know you wanted it to just be me, but it's not just me today. I'm joined with Aliyah Gordon and this is Jen. So she is a physiotherapist. So we're actually going to get straight into it. I know it's been a couple of weeks since you've seen me guys, but I'm back. So I hope everybody is well. Please send your hellos in on YouTube so I can say hello to everybody and make sure you click the thumbs up. Don't just send the thumbs up, click the thumbs up. Right, Jen, talk to us. What do? You're a physiotherapist?
Yeah, I'm a performance physiotherapist. I have a few different bases in London.
Okay, hold on. So I'm sure you guys just heard that twang, London. You heard the twang of the accent. So first things first, where are you from?
I'm from Derby in the Midlands.
From Derby,
yeah,
okay.
My accent sticks out like anything.
It's amazing. I was just saying to you before that I've got loads of family there, so I love your accent.
Thank you.
Cool, so fire on. You're from Derby, now you're in London, you have a few bases around London.
Yeah, I work in Chelsea at a place called Complete Physio, and I also have my own little clinic base, about 5-minute walk from Victoria Station, and do like mobile appointments and stuff like that.
Nice.
I kind of see a range of things, so focal issues, jaw issues, kind of any joint muscle-based issues, and we're going to have a look at a bit of an ankle niggle that's been going on for a while, and dig into that as
Awesome. Okay, thank you. And for those who don't know, this is Aliyah Gordon, so I'll let you do a little introduction just in case there's some new people on.
Hi guys, my name's Aliyah. I'm a pharmacist and I'm part of the House of Medics.
Lovely. And hi guys, I'm Tanisha. I'm not anything medical, but I'm part of the House of Medics as well. Cool. So first things first, what is physiotherapy?
It's very vast. So there's loads of different areas of physio. You have physios that work in hospitals on critical care units looking after kind of respiratory things.
Oh, wow.
You have physios that are on the pitch whilst footballers are getting injured, coming on to assess acute injuries. It's so vast and it's probably bigger than a lot of people realise. My area of physio, where I work, it's called musculoskeletal, so sometimes abbreviated to MSK. If you were to, let's say, strain your muscle or go over your ankle and you went into hospital and referred to physio, it's that kind of department, but I work privately. So yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so for people like me, and I'm going to ask you a lot of maybe intrusive questions because again, I'm not in medicine, so this is all new to me. I still don't understand what a physiotherapist is. So what is physio? You said it's to do with muscular.
So what I kind of frame it under is, it's a person that can give you the tools to get yourself better.
Okay.
They might facilitate you getting you better. So you might come in for treatment, but it's an aid of getting your injuries better, I would say.
Okay. And is that just to do with the muscles, or is physio with the bones, or
it could be
breathing?
Muscular, it could be bones, it could be breathing. We're looking at your body health, and things that I see. There could be muscular injuries. It could be post fracturing the bone. It could be more of a nerve linked injury.
Oh, okay.
It's quite vast. Quite a few different things come into that.
That's really cool. Okay, so we are going to dive a bit deeper into more questions with Jen, but we're going to get Aliyah on the table. So Aliyah, you have an underlying ankle problem?
Yeah.
If you want to tell everybody what the problem is with your ankle. It's an ongoing issue, guys.
It is an ongoing issue.
So you can kind of point at it.
I've had an ongoing ankle issue for, I don't know, a couple of years now, but so for those of you who don't know, I used to be an athlete, so I used to do gymnastics, cheerleading and a bit of dance for about 16 years. Rolled over my ankle, it comes and goes, but recently I've been having a lot of issues with even something as simple as walking. So, yeah.
Ankle injuries can be a pain to get better. You tend to see them recurring and coming back with change in activity or just persisting following an initial injury. Sometimes fracturing your ankle is actually easier because then the bone just heals and then you can kind of de-strengthen and get on with it. But with things like rolling over your ankle, sometimes gets a little bit more complicated because you've got different structures that might be injured. So we're going to take a look at it and
I'm going to quickly tell you guys a quick story, right? So I was walking down a train station once, the train station stairs, and I dropped all the way down the stairs and I sprained my ankle. Yeah, as in like this. And I ended up like on my ankle. And my ankle doesn't hurt all the time, but sometimes the pain comes back. So that's to do with physio, isn't it?
Yeah. So things like that I'd see in clinic quite commonly, to be honest. And we'd look at the ankle like we're going to today, try and get a diagnosis for it if we can, and then give you a bit of a plan essentially to go, how are we going to get this better? How are we going to get you back to walking in your heels again, or to doing your sport doing gymnastics.
That's Aliyah's problem, you see. She'll have a broken ankle, but she'll walk in heels every day. That's her problem.
Say, I love my heels. Sorry, a girl's got to look cute, you know?
And I think that's a massive thing. A lot of people get injuries and then they're just like, this is life now. I'm just going to struggle for the rest of my life.
No, it's true.
This is me done.
Yeah.
But we're kind of that bit in the middle that goes, yeah, life could be easier. We could make life easier for you. And try and get you back to the things that maybe you haven't done for a while because you just didn't know how to, or because pain's blocked you.
Yeah.
If we can.
Okay. Love it. Okay, cool. So let's get into it. Please talk me through step by step, as if you're talking to like a child, because again, I have no idea. So talk me through step by step what we're doing.
So I'd typically, when someone comes into clinic, I'd have a bit of a watch of them coming into the room anyway. One, just to see if I can guess what they're coming in with. And two, just, you can tell a lot from the way people walk in. People limping, people holding their shoulders, just seeing the habits that people already have before you've even got them into the room, you can kind of suss out things about people.
Is that to do with like posture? So if you walk in a bit slumped,
or it could be anything. So let's say I strolled into a room and I was like this. That tells me that person has had a horrible day that day, or they're in a low mood, or it might be that they're struggling with a headache. Right. Like there's just little things you can pick up from that. Or if in relation to your ankle, you came in and you were limping, I can sometimes work out why you're limping that way, which side of the foot it might be, what habits you've kind of brought on as a result of that injury, and what other things I might need to look at. Right. So we'll always take a look at people kind of coming into the room and how their mind state is, how their looking body, because it just gives us a few cute clues. Yeah. And then the first part of the physio assessment can sometimes feel a bit like, I'll say it sometimes sounds a bit boring because it's lots of information taken, but from gathering information, I can start to build a picture of what might be happening. So I'd say, how long have you had this problem for, and since when has it been worse?
I'd say a couple of years, and it's been worse the past 2 weeks.
And then what I'd want to gather from the 2 weeks is what things might have changed. So has our activity been further up? Like, have you been doing keeps more? Have we had new footwear? Have we started a new job that maybe is a bit more demanding of your commute time? Things like that we look for. Injuries most commonly come up with a change of activity. So we try and kind of delve into their history to go, is there a trigger in there? Is there?
I'm walking a lot more at work, and now our house is further from the bus stop. Okay. A lot further. The audacity, that 15-minute walk in the morning is a lot.
Well, she has a car, but she walks, but yeah. Anyway.
The other thing that we gathered slightly before is that before we were working in a bit more kind of heeled footwear. Yeah. And you've had to move to trainers because you have been having some NHS physio input. Yeah. Tell me a bit about
that. So last year I actually rolled over on my ankle. I was told it was a little bit to do with the imbalance of my feet. So I was told I wasn't allowed to wear heels, but I used to wear heels to work. Fuming. It took a while for me. I can't lie. It got so bad. I was still wearing boot heels. My ankle had actually swelled up whilst I was at work, and it took 3 of us to get my boot off. Oh my days. They sent me to A&E, and I got signed off of work for 2 weeks. So
tell us that.
Yeah, wow. Look. I just didn't want to say
in her life.
It was.
I didn't want to dig into those places.
Do you know, gosh. It's just traumatizing, you know, a bit of PTSD there. Yeah. But yeah, so now I don't actually wear heels to work. I bought myself a pair of black trainers. So that's all I do at work now. But the past week, because generally I work on about 5th or 4th floor in the hospital, but now I take the lift. I'm not even managing the stairs at the moment.
And then what we do from as people are kind of telling us their background and things like that, I'm starting to gather things of, this is what you want to get back to. You've not worn heels, you want to get back to that.
100%.
Walking is an issue. Yes, it's the most important thing on the list. But evidently walking is an issue, and then what I'd quiz is how far do we have to walk, what's the normal, what were you doing before this? And we just start to kind of pick and choose, okay, that's stored for later. These are the things that you want to get back to, as well as the problem that's at hand. So that's kind of, we'd probably have a quite lengthy chat about how it came on and what your background is, and also what would you be doing if this wasn't a problem. Is there exercises, there certain things that you would be doing that you are now avoiding?
It'd be nice to maybe join the gym and do some running.
Yeah, and then we go impact, and impact requires a lot more pressure through the ankle. If we're not managing to walk, then impact's going to be an issue. So I'd kind of drum up essentially a problem list of, these are the things I'm having trouble with, These are the goals and things that I want to be able to achieve, and also.
So you write these things down during your consultation?
Yeah, depending on like level of time and things like that, I'll either stash it and write it after, or I'll write it and I'll go through it with the person. But I think there has to be a shared understanding of,
right,
if you've told me certain things, I will make an effort to repeat back. So we want to get to doing this just to kind of, one, make sure that I've heard it right, and two, make sure that we're in agreement about your goals, because I don't want to set goals that people don't want to do. Like, if you didn't want to go to the gym and run, I'm not going to go, right, we're going to get you running. Like, it's just like, it's a shared kind of team effort to get you where you want to be.
right.
And then the information you've given me about how it's come on and what is sore will then give me information when I go and look at the foot. Should we look at the foot?
Yeah.
I'm sorry if it's painful.
It's all right. I'm sorry I don't have such pretty feet.
Everyone says that. So when we're looking at, so problem areas here, we said outer ankle.
Yeah.
Outer ankle. When we're looking at the problem area, we also want to look above and if necessary below. We might go as far as kind of low back and hip, depending on what I've seen walking in. I'm going to zoom straight in first, and you tell me where the pain is or where the problems come on. So outer ankle.
Yeah.
And when's the most recent time that you have flared this up?
This week.
With
Pretty
walking.
much, yeah.
With walking. A few days ago.
Yeah.
Did it swell up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It does swell.
So first thing we do is just look. Is it swollen? Do you like to hold your feet in a certain position? So sometimes I'll look at people's feet and they just like to hold it here because it's just more comfortable.
Does that hurt?
I'm
little
sorry.
Because the way she just dragged it, yeah?
Sorry, it was mean. So yeah, I'm going to go with this one. I'll go with this one. So sometimes people just hold their foot in a certain position because they're trying to move away from the pain area. So I'll go, are you lying with your feet in the same angle? Is it swollen? Does anything look like it's out of place? Which, given your history, I'd be surprised if you came in and there was like a bone out of place or anything like that, because it's not, you've not like bashed over your ankle or fallen nastily in the past 24 hours. So I'm looking at that and I'm not too worried about swelling. It's a little bit puffy up the top, but not massively so. So then I go and have a bit of a prod. The first thing I'd want to
The worst part, isn't it?
the anticipation from everyone.
I'm just like,
So there's certain areas along the ankle in the foot that are common fracture points. Again, because you've had this long-standing and there's been no impact recently or no big buckle, I'm not expecting to find a fracture in here. If we do, sorry. But essentially, we press along the bone and into the common bony areas.
Is it hurting? Yeah, but can you react so we know that it's hurting?
I'm
And
just
I'll
squinting.
then look at people to see how bad it is, because sometimes people wince and then they go, "Oh, it's actually not that bad." So is that sore or is it just? I'm not sure.
There.
So there we don't like. And I'll just work my way round and I'll commonly just have a compare, because sometimes things are sensitive and people go, "Oh no, but actually it feels like the other side. Just not pressed it." There. Yeah, not happy about that. And then we'll come into the foot itself. There's a...
That's all right.
It can take a bit.
You're enjoying that, aren't you?
Yeah, she's like...
Yeah, that's all right.
It's all right. Like a little massage. It was a bit at the beginning that was a bit painful.
And this isn't the pain area, but sometimes you find things away from the pain area.
I want one after this, please.
Everyone come and get me. Fine.
Yeah.
Anticipation in the eyes, I can see it already. We're okay so far.
Yeah.
And I'm purposely going to the other side first. So you've got a bit of comparison of like what normal pressure is.
And your foot's quite arched as well, isn't it?
Opposite of arch.
Like, is it?
Flat.
Is it?
She's not, well, we'll see when she stands up. She has got an arch in her foot.
That
which is
might
good.
be
Some
from
people have
ballet
it.
though, isn't it?
She's got a background in dance, so yeah, you'll have worked the underneath.
Every minute
And
you're
those-
just...
yeah, pointy.
Yeah.
But you'll see when she stands up how different that is. 'Cause
Yeah.
That just kind of goes. But here, kind of okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit tender actually.
Where?
I didn't even think that. Yeah, there.
Why would it be tender on the inside if it's swollen on the outside? Is it strain?
Sometimes you get your injuries because you're avoiding something else. And that's something that you might want to rule out. It's like the chicken and the egg though. What came first? Was it this or this? Or has this come on because of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd hope to gather that from like what they've told you. It's the back bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was the problem.
On the other
Yeah.
side.
So Other places we look at is the ligaments that support that ankle joint a little bit. That's anticipation. You're like, is it painful?
Oh, that's all right.
And it's the back one that we really don't like, and she's wincing. Zoom in on my face. So that back ligament, it supports, and I'll go on the other side. If our ankle was to roll in, it would support it just not flopping all the way over.
Okay.
But there's a bit unhappy there. Sometimes a sign of a sprain might just be sensitive because of loading. What we'd then do, there's a few different stress tests on the ligaments that I'm just going to see basically if your ligaments should hold joint to joint together. If it's really, really flexible, it's a sign of a sprain. If it's
Like
not
flimsy?
holding, yeah, flimsy is a good word for it. So I test a few different ones. That should be okay.
Oh my
That
days.
should be okay. Sorry in advance, you don't like that one.
No.
So that stresses the back ligament. So we've got a bit of an unhappy ligament at the back there on the outer lateral ligament. And I'm going to stop touching it.
What's a lateral ligament?
So lateral just means outside. There's free there. And it just supports.
The back of the foot.
Yeah. If I was to draw it, it's just going to see it. Yeah. So we're a bit unhappy with that one. But we then go, what's your movement like? So I'm going to get you to point as much as you can. Actually, not too bad now, is it? We got you moving before this. We cheated a little bit. So we'd look. Oh no, it actually is a little bit stiff. Go again. So
that one's not as deep as that one.
So you compare. You go, how much can you point?
Does it hurt?
So I've got a little bit less there, and then I go, does it hurt, or does it just feel like you can't do it?
It just feels like I can't go anymore.
Okay, and then you come all the way up. And that looks quite a lot of effort. You look so unhappy.
Your foot's like shaking. What's doing this?
And we look at the quality of the movement there. It's not just can you get.
You know what? I have quite a good pain threshold, but it's like.
She's like, will you just leave me alone?
Bullying now, really.
So I'd say both ankles are quite stiff on that movement. And what we see, like if we were to zoom in on that, it goes further, and it goes further the longer you hold it, but it's effort, right?
Yeah.
And then we go, how much rotation has the ankle got? So if you were to pull inwards, fine. And then if we were to compare it with the other side, and the first thing you wanted to do was use your hip there. And that's the body's way of going, maybe we don't want to do this.
Compensating.
So I'll then like draw attention to that, or I might pin the hip, and then try and move from the ankle. Sorry. And that's quite difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of focus there. But if I guide you, you don't want to do it, do you? Go on. If I guide you, you can get there. Is it agony?
Not too bad, actually. I thought it'd be worse.
And then there's anticipation. So we go again, and then we go again. Because sometimes you just need to get the person doing it. You're still not happy with it. So
You're still moving your hip there as well.
So I've stashed that as we don't like turning the foot inwards, and then we turn outwards. So that's the movement I want. Can you do it on that side? And we can do it, but again, it's quite shaky. Yeah, fair movement there. Good. So we've just kind of gone, what's the movement like? It's a bit stiff on your point. You don't like swishing it inwards. We can get it to the other positions, but it's a bit stiff and uncomfortable. And it's, again, in that same place. Cool. Then we look at strength. There's a few different ways to look at strength. I can do a hand-resisted test, or sometimes I use a dynamometer, which essentially just measures it and puts it in.
What's a dynamometer?
It's just like a strength tester machine.
Oh, it's an actual machine.
Yeah, it's like I put it in the other room. I don't know why. I should have brought it in. You just like, you can put it around your hand, and it's like a plate, and then I'll get you to push into the plate for, let's say, 5 seconds. Push. And then I'll link it to my phone. It'll give like a value in kg, and then we do best out of 3 in different positions, and then compare it to the other side, and then we get like an actual number figure of that's, let's say, 3 kg weaker than the other one. So when we then go and give you a strength program, we could then go, right, in a few weeks or like a month down the line, if we remeasure, are we more even, or it just gives us like an objective measure for that.
Nice.
If we were doing it by hand, I'm looking for, is it painful? Then I'll look at power. So push my hand inwards. Go on, give it some way. Go on.
I'm trying.
Is it painful?
Not too bad.
No. Outwards. That you don't even. You didn't even want to go there. And when we look at strength testing and then looking at muscle support around there, you didn't want to do that. We're a bit. And part of that's reluctance because we've gone the second time and we've got more. Again, difficult or painful.
I'm really trying.
Okay. But painful or difficult?
Difficult.
Okay. And we then go, if it's painful, what is wrong with the structure trying to push?
Yeah.
Is there maybe an irritation of it? Is there a strain? If it's difficult, is it just weak? You're just not used to working. And what we saw through the quality of you turning your foot out was a bit shaky to get there. So we know that to a degree we've got to look at your muscle strength and power there. So we do that in all directions. And then I've already gathered we've got a bit of a ligament injury. Your peroneal muscles around there a bit.
What did you call it?
Peroneals. Or
Peroneals.
You call it fibularis.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Sounds like a fish.
Just outer muscles, yes. And then, so once we've got locally what's going on, if I think, okay, I'm not worried about fracture, I'm not worried about the ankle being unstable, or you I think you should be able to walk on it, which you did in this room. And then go, let's see what happens when you stand up. Can you ever stand up? We're going to shunt this back.
Oh God, everyone's laughing at me.
All the laughing faces. It's actually been pretty good. Leave her alone. So you were saying that she's got quite obvious arches in her foot, but when we stand up, those arches kind of disappear.
They're quite flat now. Yeah, I can see from the inside.
So structurally, our foot has an arch. Fine. Do you want us to turn? Can you see? Yeah. But sometimes because of strength or just our foot makeup or the footwear that we wear, we kind of flatten out that arch position. So what we see more so with this foot, if we look at kind of the angle of the ankle, you like to put all your weight here.
Yeah.
And what that does, if I get you to, I'm going to get you to exaggerate it, just rest your hand in here so you don't topple, stand on one foot.
On the bad foot.
Yeah. You're like, I don't want it. Oh, it didn't sink too badly. You remember the hip thing.
I'm trying.
Yeah, good.
It has.
So we look how much it drops over to this side, because ideally we want you to be able to, you've got your hand down.
Yeah.
We want you to be able to lift through that arch, keep the rest of your toes down, so that actually you grow taller, you take pressure away from your ankle and you load through
So
the
does that mean the person has to relearn how to do this stuff? That's nuts.
Honestly, standing and walking is now just gonna have to be like, okay, first tuck your pelvis in, then do this, then do that.
Lift your
the
arch
number
in your
one
foot.
thing I never tell people to do, just because it will make you overthink life. I will give you your physio stuff to practice, but I don't then want you to go, and when I'm walking, I need to touch my pelvis. It's like, you'll probably fall over. Or
Yeah, I'll be like,
something.
okay,
Yeah.
first, right step forward, then you've got it.
Well, that's
Like,
it.
Yeah,
It's more
you're
about
overthinking
creating
it.
habits. So if you've got your physio exercises and you're doing them daily, it then you'll start to notice when you're not doing things. So let's say I gave you let's say it was a posture thing and I gave you like 20 minutes a day to do things that made you upright. You're then more likely to notice, let's say the next day you're on the computer, you're like this, you'll then remember, oh, I've actually had history of training my back and I know how to sit up straight. So you'll then start to adjust.
Just remember
and you
stuff.
create the habits.
Yeah.
And it's less about, when I'm sitting, I have to be here. It's more, your brain's got that memory of, oh, that's how you do it. So I just tweak it. And then you start to do it more often, and then it becomes a skill that is learned.
Right.
As opposed to, like, driving yourself mad over.
Yeah. Amazing.
Okay.
Just in everyday skills. So, yeah, what we were looking at there is just to get you standing evenly through the foot. Because there's a bit of a habit there in standing. And if there's a habit in standing, when you walk, that habit's going to be a bit more obvious. Tell me a few of the exercises the NHS physio gave you, because they sound good.
Heel raises.
Can you show me what that is?
Oh.
So quite a common one
These
for calf
ones.
strength. And keep going. We're loading up the muscles.
How does that
Am I
help
doing it
them?
wrong?
How does that help them? What does it
So
do?
that's the movement that we did when we were up on the bench.
The pointed one.
Pointed.
Okay.
That was the movement that was a bit stiff there, a little bit weak there. Go again. All we're doing is loading it in standing.
So does that mean she should be doing this more often?
Potentially, but I'm going to tweak something. So often when we rise up onto our toes, depending on like what your background is, it's very easy for us to go up onto our toes, but only like really sickle out on the ankle. And then we're actually, one of the movements you didn't like was this.
Yeah.
So we're just, what I get you to do is then try and come up nice and evenly. And you'll probably get to a point where you can't come up at even anymore. You do need to do that.
Yeah.
So you just load before that point.
Okay. So there.
Yeah. And then what we might need to do, keep going. is give additional supports to try and correct so you can feel it a little bit more. So I've got a resistance band there. I won't loop it up completely, but I'll just show you with my hands. It's not quite long enough, but I'll chuck it here anyway. So what I might do is get the band. So
what's it called, sorry, Jen?
Just a resistance band.
Resistance.
You can loop it around twice, but essentially it'd be attached there. And I'm just going to do it with my hand. So if you step out, you'd rise it up. And what the band would do is pull at your heel slightly, go like a little bit less than that. So you wouldn't come up as high, but it would give you that pressure here so you know to adjust. So if you adjust your leg in that position that I've given you, yeah, that's it. So it just pulls you away from rolling over your ankle.
Okay.
To make sure that you load well coming up onto your toes. The reason that exercise is important, one is for the point. Two, if we were talking about gym and return to impact, we do it all up here. So we're on our toes. So if you can't actually rise up to your toes comfortably without pain and without rolling on the ankle, it's not going to feel nice to run.
Explains why I can't run.
So yeah, we just we work backwards, yeah.
So my ankle flicks a lot, like an old lady.
So that would be an absolutely fine exercise. I'd just nitpick and make sure that how you're loading when you come up and come down is nice and even. The other thing that we would do, if you jump up, there's loads you can do for ankles.
Right, guys, we're going to go into a break shortly. So this will be the last one in this section. And then we'll jump into something else.
There's an array of like banded exercises. So I get you to put a band and rotate in and out. And then other things we'd like work on balance. So can you actually stand on one foot? Can you stand on one foot and keep that arch in your foot and keep your balance? As well as look at... So you're like...
He's trying it out.
Yeah.
Can you functionally load the foot and keep awareness of the rest of pelvis, your hip, your knee position? So yeah, there's heaps we can do for ankles. You don't have to struggle in pain post rolling it, but it does take a lot of attention when you've got sprains or like muscular injuries around the ankles because we're on our feet all day.
Yeah, all the time, consistently in life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, awesome. Thank you, Jen. So we're going to dive into a little bit more with Jen and with Aliyah and her dodgy ankle a little bit later. But we're going to quickly just show you guys a quick video of a screening that we're doing on the 18th of February. It is called Hope for Ghana. So you'll see a quick trailer now and then we'll come back to you. See you in a second.
Hi, I'm Dr. Emma and welcome to House of Medics Ghana. It's just been an amazing experience and I just can't wait for you guys to watch this film.
Hi guys, so we're back. The table's gone. So we're just going to quickly dive a little bit deeper into physiotherapy, how Jen actually got into physiotherapy, how she can actually help us in any ways with physiotherapy. And I heard that you do dance to help physio.
I do dance myself, like on the side, just as like.
What kind of dance is it?
Like contemporary-ish lyrical.
Is it?
Stuff.
Are you gonna show us?
Page.
You're gonna show us?
No, that's not
I mean, not now.
Yeah.
You can maybe download some music. We'll give you some time, media team, to get some music. Jen, I want to see something. No, I want to see something. So guys, make sure you send your questions in as well. Any physio pains. I've seen some people mentioning that they have lower back pains, but Whitney just told me today that
it's
she
definitely broken.
She said to me today that she was doing some gym stuff, so her back is in a lot of pain. So guys, please send your questions into Jen. So Jen, how did you get into physiotherapy? And how long have you been doing it for?
This will be going into my 7th year doing it.
You've been doing it for 7 years?
Like we're not quite at 7 years, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
How did I get into it? I kind of winged it in terms of, I didn't know, I'm not one of those people who from when they were younger was like,
This is what I want to do.
Because some people have that. When I was in secondary school, you do like the standard placements, and I looked at what my interests were. So I like biology, I like PE. My parents are nurses, so I knew I wanted to do something healthcare, but I just didn't want to do the nurse doctor thing. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then I did 2 placements. I did a teaching placement, which was cool. And then I did a physio placement, and I essentially sat in an appointment with a physio and was just like, that looks interesting. How did he work out how to...
So did you randomly pick that physio placement?
I literally, I went on Google and was like, what careers can you do with biology and PE?
Do you know what? That
And I
sounds
was
like
like,
pharmacy.
Cool, let's see. Well,
I typed in what is chemistry and maths together,
But
and pharmacy popped up. Hello.
Right, cool.
how does biology fit into physio?
Now, the interesting thing is...
Or maybe
when
I need
you-
to ask, what is biology?
The human body. So you have to understand the bone structure. So when Jen was talking about all the ligaments, the muscles, the bones, that's
Anatomy,
biology.
Anatomy. But interestingly, at that level, I learned more about like the human body and anatomy in my PE classes than my biology. Biology was a lot of like...
Plants.
Really?
Yeah,
As in
which is
why?
useful.
Did you do it as well?
Also,
Yeah.
They asked for biology as like a required subject, and it's like, but I learned
Plants.
everything from like my PE classes and stuff at A level. Interesting, whatever. I don't know if it's still the same now, but yeah, it was a Google search. It was a local physio, and I was like, that looks interesting. Let's go with that and see where it takes me. I went to uni, and then as soon as I started uni, I was like, yeah, no, like this is the right thing.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you a little bit because I want to properly understand.
Yeah.
So you Googled it, you done a placement,
Yeah.
and you went to uni to study physiotherapy, just physiotherapy.
Yeah, I was up at Manchester Met.
Okay, and talk to me about your 3 years there. How did you find it? Was it difficult? Did you go on any placements there?
Yeah, Manchester was awesome, absolutely awesome. My hometown.
Good nightlife, isn't there?
Very good night.
Yeah, you've known it.
Yeah, I would.
Very good nightlife. Yeah, it was awesome. The uni were really supportive. The city was great. It just felt like student city. It was intense. We get in. It's like, cool, you've got 6 weeks to learn all your anatomy, and then we're testing you, and it's like,
Oh wow. So you were thrown straight into it,
straight in. It was like freshers, and then you're like, oh, but I've got to learn all the
Yeah.
muscles in the body. But it was good, and I'm glad that I chose that uni and that city to go to. And I'd say first year it was just a lot of like foundations of like the different areas of physio and what it was, and just a big introduction to the body. And in my first year, because when I started, I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted to do.
So you knew instantly you loved it. You was like, yeah,
I
this
just
is
liked
it.
it. I was like, it was really interesting. And then the back of my mind, I was like, I want to be a sports physio. But they always tell you not to, like, when you come into the physio career, they're like, don't tell people you want to be a sports physio because it's so big and you're really narrowing off.
You need to be specific.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I was like, I still want to be a sports physio. So I was like, maybe if I get my sports massage qualification now, I can start delving in and see if I like it. So I did that in my first year and just got, like, whilst I was studying, got stuck in and was booking to work on sports events. So I think after the first year, I did London Marathon for a charity and just was seeing the runners afterwards.
Okay, so you were studying physiotherapy and at the same time you were learning how to do sports massages as part of physiotherapy.
So actually on the physiotherapy course, you probably only do like, at the time we learned about the massage, but we probably only did like 2 days practical on massage. It's like a tiny little element of it. There's so much else. And for me, I was like, I was working whilst I was at uni, but also I was like, can I get work in this kind of health sector?
Right.
So I was like, let me just get the qualification and like dive in whilst I'm doing this. So I went and got that and then cracked on whilst I was learning. And then it's like, you have 2 years where you go out on placement and they allocate it, but you can kind of suggest if you want a certain placement to try and get it rounded. So
Okay.
Different hospitals around Manchester, and I went up Liverpool way as well. So like critical care units, out in the community.
This is while you were studying, but it was a placement during your
Yeah,
studies.
you have to get a certain amount of hours in. It's like learning on the job, which can be quite daunting when you feel like you don't know all of your stuff because you're there to learn. But it's quite practical and hands-on, so they just kind of like throw you in and then.
Did you, now that you've done it, do you think that was maybe the best way to learn, just kind of being thrown in?
100%.
Would you say you're quite hands-on anyway? That's how you learn, or?
Yeah, I think I'm quite a practical learner, and I think for physio as well, it was you kind of need to do the skills.
You have to do it to
you
understand
have to do it. You use your hands. For me, it always made more sense to work like that, and also for me, it was like I do the practical stuff and really like thrive off it, and then I come to do my essays and be like. But it does go. It's important to get the written side and like the research side in. It's really important, and it just teaches you what each way of learning has.
Okay. So talk to us about third year. You were on a placement in third year. Did you have to do a dissertation like other students, or?
So third year we had placements continuing, and then we had dissertation, and then we had a few different. So you'd have like practical exams, and then you'd have like your written. Third year, at the end of third year, I have blanked from my mind. it was just very intense, and I think everyone to a degree finds those dissertations really difficult because you're coming to the end of your run, and then you just have to put your words on paper. We did it. We're here.
How easy was it for you to get a job after?
Oh, straight in. I got a job on my birthday before I graduated. Which
Go
was
on.
awesome.
What a great
They
method.
didn't know it was my birthday, and she rang me. I was like, "It's the best birthday present ever." And that was my first rotational post, which is up in Manchester.
What's rotational? What's a rotational post?
So how we played at the time, the physio courses were funded by the NHS, and
Definitely not now, are they?
Oh yeah, I mean that stopped like 2 years after we got lucky. But it just with the physio course, because it's so vast and there's so many departments you can go to work in, it's really hard to come out of the course like that and then go, this is what I want to do. So the rotational posts allow you to go and work in a hospital, start in one department, do like 4 to 6 months there, and then get moved. And people will typically do that for like 2 years and then go, oh, that's what I like. Let's go for a specific post there and then build on your skills.
That's quite good, actually.
Makes perfect sense. And also then you get a feel for like, one, it's more time learning. 2, it's a feel for different teams, and you might move to a different hospital within that time. It's just more opportunity to learn, really. And I think when you graduate, there's also a thing of like, do I know enough? Do I know enough? So rotations,
Just gaining experience in other areas.
exactly that.
But would you say, because Aliyah, obviously you're in medicine as well, would you say you constantly learn on the go anyway?
Yeah. And
Like
I
you're
think,
a continuous learning?
yeah, especially because they're always learning new things in general. So for me, in pharmacy, there might be like a new medication, or like they found some evidence for something that may work for something else. We've just been through COVID, so they were using certain medicines that we use for other treatments to treat COVID because it could also attack the virus. So I don't know if there's similarities in your role where they're learning, okay, maybe this works better for this type of injury,
New
and this
research
works.
comes out all the time.
Yeah.
Like back at uni, we used your ultrasound as a treatment, and some people still do.
As a treatment?
Oh my God, that
It was
was
a thing.
painful, you know.
It was.
They did an ultrasound on my ankle
Can
and
you
left
just
limping.
explain what an ultrasound is? Because I don't get how you use it as a treatment.
Well, it's not used as a treatment typically anymore unless you're going to a physio that practices in a bit of an older method way. But essentially, an ultrasound is it's what you might have seen like with gel, and they've got like a thing and they go over the area. At uni, they used to say, or there was a certain amount of, let's say, a lower standard research that said that it was effective in kind of healing ligament or tendon issues.
Wow.
But then research kept coming out that, was it just a placebo effect? Was it more of the fact of, you've got an instrument, you're using it on the area, it's making the person feel more confident that something is actually being done
Like a
to
mental-
the area. Yeah.
It's a lie, it's painful. Been there, done that, crossed it off. Not treatment method, don't have it.
So yeah, research just comes out that kind of disproves or proves things are more useful, and then we try to be as clinically, like work on clinical evidence so that you get the best outcomes from
Nice. Okay.
treatment.
Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna get a bit intrusive. Talk to me about your family. You said your parents are both nurses. Do you have siblings or anyone else in your family that are actually in medicine?
No, just me.
Just you?
Yeah. Both of my parents were in different fields in nursing. One of them still does nurse, one of them's retired.
Are you allowed to tell us what fields? I know I'm being very
Mental
inclusive.
health and just,
Nice.
I mean,
Oh, that is difficult.
yeah.
Didn't know you could be a mental health nurse.
Yeah.
Important job. Very important job. And then my mum nursed in a variety of different settings. She works in a home at the moment, but she had a history of like working at Great Ormond Street and all sorts. She's a book of all trades. She's probably watching now.
Hi.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so when they found out that you were going into physio, were they like, oh my gosh, are they happy, excited?
I think they wanted me to go into nursing or
Nursing.
doctor stuff first, but like my parents are quite supportive, so it was just kind of like.
Yeah.
I think the big thing was trying to go to uni with like an outcome. I think there's courses that you can do that put you straight in a career, and courses that you can do that kind of like you've got a lot of knowledge in that sector, but it doesn't necessarily lead to a specific job. So I think it's always the kind of thing of you want security for the child, don't you? So there is kind of like what you want to do, you want to do. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So do you have any like gruesome stories of anything that's happened in a physio session? Has anything broken in front of you? Like you tried to turn it, it just cracked?
Not in a, like I've seen some not so nice injuries, but not necessarily in a physio session. Gruesome. I think so. I work in performing arts, and I've seen when I've done a show watch or things like that, I've seen things go in terms of like, let's say a muscle tear or a muscle strain goes while someone is doing something. So I've seen someone running that was on a recovery injury that you could literally, I felt like I could hear it, but
did you see it happening?
Yeah, and my heart sank away because I was like, that's you at a show. And it was a hamstring injury, but it was just like and then he was on the floor. I was like, okay.
So did you run over to him?
It was kind of mid-show, so
he just left him
I
there.
was like, I'm gonna go in the break. So those are quite wounding moments.
Yeah.
There's not been a lot of them. Or you have some weird and wonderful things rock up in clinic. Like this was a while back. I had someone who knee injury. I think again that thing of a lot of people just leave injuries because they hope they'll be okay, but it was so bad, so bad. His knee was so big, and I was like, they were like, "Oh, do you think I can go skiing?" And I was like,
no.
Well, let's see what you can do. And then when you kind of start to assess people and you go, "Yep, can't bend it. Oh, I can't actually touch it," and they can't walk properly, and you're like, "Oh, it's not looking good."
So it's like they know that something's really wrong, but they just want to continue anyway.
Some people are just in denial, and you know when you've got stuff to do, sometimes it's like I have to cope.
Aliyah?
Yeah.
Still ready.
It's quite a difficult thing to be the person to go. Stop because X, Y, and Z might happen, and I think it's a really important thing that physios do, being the go-between for people to go, actually, no, we're here to look after you, so I'm giving you this advice to make sure that you end up in the best place possible.
And a lot of people tend not to follow it, don't they?
It's hit and miss, and it depends on the person and what's going on for them. And I think I'll always, for people that come to me, I'll always be very plain in that if this is what I've suggested, if you, let's say it's someone on a show and they've got an injury and they really want to stay on show, I'll go, right, okay, if you're staying on show and you continue this is the potential of things to happen and this is the level of risk. So then they've got the information to then go, if you choose to continue, this is what might happen and this is the best that I can support you in doing that, but I would advise X. And sometimes that's a conversation with the person. Sometimes if they're working for a company, that's a conversation with the managers as well. It's all a bit of safeguarding and just, there's a lot of education in physio. It's the essence of it is teaching people about their body and what they can do to keep it good. So
okay, awesome. So we are going to round up shortly, but I really do want to see some dance. I can't lie, I'm sorry. Oh my God. So you do contemporary dance, but it's to help the body. It's a form of physio. No? Okay.
No, you do contemporary dance and then you do dance physio.
Yeah, my dance thing's separate. I treat dancers. I do treat dancers. Kind of working with a few from Strictly at the moment, and we'll drop that. We'll drop that. And the studio that I train at often, I kind of like have a bit of a deal and have dancers coming in from there.
So you don't really do dance physio? You do it on people, but not
I
on
treat
yourself?
dancers.
Okay.
I dance separately. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, the floor is yours.
I'm not
If
doing
you... All right, no pressure. Okay, so guys, we're gonna begin to round up soon. So please do send your questions. Whitney, I will ask about your back, right? I will ask about your back.
What's she saying? Have we lost the talk on the lower back? I need tips on how it's definitely broken.
Yeah, that's what she said. Tips on
Might have to
on,
bring you
on
back,
lower
go
back.
back.
We could do a lower back session.
Yeah?
Happily. I did
Cool.
a workshop for dancers on that. Now, it wasn't even dance specific, to be honest. Lower back pain is something that people struggle with a lot, and also pandemic has left us all sitting and not really moving that much. So that pressure just kind of sits in. So there's lots of different stretches I could go through for that, but maybe
we can do a part 2. Yeah, bring you on, Whitney.
hit me up on Insta.
Cool. Yeah, we'll get your details.
Someone
at the
said,
end.
"Bust a move, girl." Aziza.
Exactly.
We're waiting.
Cool. So a couple more questions just before we go. Actually, I've got 3 more questions before we go. Dom's looking at me like. So what is a pro and a con of a physiotherapist?
Ooh, okay.
Sorry, I
Pro of,
didn't mean to
having
go all deep.
physio or like
Of
being
being a physio, because I feel like having physio is only a pro.
I would say so.
Definitely.
Pro of being a physio, I love it. I love seeing people and like basically doing my best to get them back to what they enjoy, because there is nothing like seeing someone come into physio when they're at that absolute lowest. Obviously, I don't enjoy that. Seeing them come in at their lowest and seeing them do the journey to get themselves good. And then,
Is that your mum? Hi, mum. Is that your auntie? That's so cute. Sorry.
But yeah, to get people to their goals and like have that last session where they go, I'm back to doing this, I'm back to this, I understand what this means, fly away, do your thing. Like that for me is so rewarding.
It's like a mother, you're just nurturing
Yeah,
them
I'm
through
like,
their
I'm
journey.
so proud of you.
Yeah.
Go and do this.
So you love the feeling of being rewarded and seeing someone go from being in bad shape to going back to their usual.
Seeing the journey and just like getting people, like giving them their life back in some senses, because for some people it is a thing of like I can't sleep, I can't, like I'm struggling throughout the day, and you just give people those tools where you can to just get their control back. And I just
So really, you're helping people's mental health a little bit.
No, 100%. That's why I think the therapy part of physiotherapy, like I think a lot of injuries affect your mind, if not all.
Yeah.
Because for me, certainly, if I have a bad day at work, generally it's because I just struggled on my foot. And like it just made the day longer and harder, or I couldn't sleep because I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
and those factors come into your pain.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, your mood will definitely have an impact on your level of pain. So yeah, it's a whole bundle.
Having your own therapist. Thanks for coming. Lovely. Okay, and the last question, just because we do have a lot of students that are with House of Medics, if you did want to get into physiotherapy, what is the best way for them to go about it? So you mentioned a lot of placements. Are there top universities that specialise in physiotherapy?
COVID is a pain in the back. So often, like in getting into physio, it's quite good to go and get a placement, so you've got a feel for it and you know that you like it.
So you study and then get a placement, or
No,
it's
like
in
before-
the...
Work experience.
Yeah, like work experience. So before I went on the course, I'd like, separate to the time that I went to go and see, I'd then went to do like a week's placement. I don't know how easy that is to get now, what with distancing and things, but I'd get in touch with physios, talk to them if they're willing to talk, just so you've got a bit of insight. And uni-wise, I mean, the course is pretty much the same,
Everywhere.
being honest. You have your content, you learn your anatomy, you do your placements, because there's a standard level of hours that you need to qualify. So what I say is make sure it's the city that you want, because you're going to be doing it for 3 years, and I think you'd have a bad experience doing a physio course somewhere that you're not happy to live.
Yeah.
You're probably, hopefully, going to get the same quality of course wherever you go to. Do your research there.
Awesome, thank you. Miss Aliyah, any last questions for our physiotherapist before
You know, we were speaking before. I just want you to say one thing, because obviously there's the NHS, and that's a whole nother story. I know that
We love the NHS.
we do, but I also know that it can be very different working for the NHS and working privately. And I know you work privately now, and you used to work in the NHS.
Yeah.
So just for those who want to go into physiotherapy, just speak about sort of your journey coming out of the NHS and like the differences, because I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Even for me, someone that doesn't want to be in the NHS long term, how did you come about that? Like, would you recommend someone, you know, not everyone leave the NHS, we still need you, but do you know what I mean? Just
I think the big thing is, it's just a slightly different approach because of the availability of time, I'd say. NHS is great. I'd still go back to working in the NHS. And if we're talking in this area of physio, what you'll typically get at the moment, the difficulty will be one, wait time. So you might go and have a referral to MSK physio on the NHS. And
That's musculoskeletal.
Yeah, sorry.
Go on, girl.
It might take above 6 weeks. So the types of injuries that come after that amount of time will be different. So you might have more longer lasting issues like that. You might not get seen at the very start when you've gone over your ankle and it's really, really sore and painful. Whereas I'd probably get more of that privately because people are like, oh, help me.
I need you now. Yeah. Okay.
The other thing is follow-up time. So again, because the wait list will be huge for the NHS, you might have your first appointment and then not get seen for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So their approach will probably typically be giving you a plan and giving you exercises or referring you. And sometimes that can be a bit like, because I just want you to get your hands on and do it. But it's justified because if you leave that first appointment without a plan, you may be better for like 2 days if they do hands-on, but then for the next 4 or 5 weeks, you're stuck again. So they'll typically take like an exercise planning approach, or maybe pain management, as opposed to privately. For some cases, are a bit more hands-on, a bit more get you in the gym, get you doing things straight in, because we've got a bit more time. We know that we can follow up a bit quicker.
Awesome. I've really enjoyed this chat we've had, Jen. Thanks for this. Lovely. So do you want to tell everybody your social media handles, and if anybody wants to DM you?
Yeah, go for it.
Should they book you? Get some. Should they book you, or should they just DM you?
So there's a few different ways to get in touch. My Instagram is TAWIAH physio. You'll find me there, or we'll share it. You can inbox me there. On my page also is my email address and my website and my contact number. So if you WhatsApp that, if you want an appointment, that's fine. I'm also findable at Complete Physio in Chelsea, which I'll put on my page afterwards.
Awesome, thank you. And I will leave Aliyah to let us know the social media handles for the House of Medics.
So I'm on Instagram at Ms. Aliyah, so M for mother, S for sugar, ALIYAH_, and obviously at We Are House of Medics.
Lovely. And the rest of the social media handles, Aliyah?
So we've got our website, which is houseofmedics.org. We are on Instagram at We Are House of Medics. We are on Twitter at House of Medics, TikTok and Facebook.
And LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn,
Yeah.
sorry. How can I forget?
We're on
House of
everything,
Medics,
Jen.
everything.
Right, we're on everything.
Yes, come Emma. Chelsea for you back. I'll see you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And thank you so much, Jen, for coming on the House of Medics. Thank you. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Dr. Emma, and welcome to House of Medics Ghana. It's just been an amazing experience, and I just can't wait for you guys to watch this film.